No, actually, thank you very much. It is meeting number 103, which means that we've gone 3 ahead of our last milestone. And we are, I would say, let's call it 22 close, 22 further, 22 meetings away from our next milestone, which will be the 125th meeting. But all that is for a future date and time. I wanted to welcome you all to this meeting to get us started. The mission of all Toastmasters Club, including this one, all Toastmasters clubs, including this one, Madam Grammarian, is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. And this club is no different. We offer the same support and atmosphere of learning and growth that every other Toastmasters club in the world prides itself in. We are a small club. We always find room for speakers and guests and friends because we like to grow our tribe of Fireflies and Toastmasters. So if you have friends who are looking for speaking slots, if you have friends who are looking for a home club that they would feel comfortable in, this is the club to find for them to find a home in. I think our Sa is here, but I'm going to ask her to hold on, and I'll be the pretend Sa until for the time being. What else do we do in this club? We meet on the first, third, and fifth Thursday of every month at 6:30 p.m. sharp. As you saw in this meeting, we don't like to delay. Our club president is this very vivacious, very capable Toastmaster, Vyoma Rao, but unfortunately, she's not with us in this meeting. So the presiding officer for today's meeting will be the very capable, very charismatic, and very, what other C word can I think of? Very charming. No, it's not Toastmaster Cyril. You don't have to blush, Toastmaster Cyril. Actually, it is. It is Toastmaster Cyril. Our presiding officer for the meeting is Toastmaster Cyril, who will be taking us through the remainder of this meeting as the man in charge, with no further drama, no further delay from someone who's doing the job pretty shabbily. I'm going to pass on the baton to Toastmaster Cyril Paul as the presiding officer for the meeting and the vice president of this club, vice president of education of this club. So once again, if you have any need for a speaking slot, if you have any need for a club that you can call your own, please do reach out to either Cyril or myself or Gio or Purnima. We all will be glad to help you. Toastmaster Cyril, let's welcome you with a big round of applause and hand the meeting over to you.
Thank you so very much. The ever-dashing Sai, you'll never find this man at a loss for words anytime. If you ever want to fill in a speech slot at the last minute, Sai is the man to call, and he'll just come and he'll just deliver an outstanding speech. Great. Let's kickstart this meeting. Once again, welcome everyone to the 103rd meeting of BKC Fireflies. There are some guests that I'd love to. There are some returning guests. There are some new guests. Let me talk to Toastmaster Vijayata. We had a little bit of chat, but this is when I'd like to have her introduce herself to the rest of the club and learn from her what she's looking for in Toastmasters. Sai, I think you're sharing the screen. Yes. Got it. All right. Yeah. Vijayata. Am I audible? Right. Toastmaster Vijay, that's not available. Let's jump into our returning.
Hi.
Oh, there you are.
I was on another call.
Okay.
Give me...
Multitasking, just like
Yes.
our VP PR Sai. And actually a presiding officer, right? A club is full of multitasking people. There you go. Welcome to BKC Fireflies. Do tell us a little bit about yourself, the club that you're from. And you mentioned that you're 5 months young in Toastmasters. Let's hear a little bit about your journey so far. What are you looking for to learn from Toastmasters? And yes, how did you find this club?
Okay. First of all, I'm Vijayata. I am into recruitment staffing background, and I came to know about this Toastmaster group from my well-known person. I was in the same group, so she has introduced me to Toastmaster. I am from Charismatic Speaker Toastmasters. So CSTM is the club name, and this is also a new club. We have 39th meeting in upcoming Saturday, 7 o'clock. And I have joined in 5 months back into this. And when I joined, I got an opportunity to meet with several people from the different various background, various cultures, and like I myself is participating in many events and enriching with all the information and knowledge and sharing and building lots of network over here. So
Right.
it's nice. And I came to know about you from one group where you have posted. So I said, okay, 6:30, it's my time, so I can join and go through it. So I will make more networks with you, and definitely someday I'll help you in this role playing as well.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so very much. One quick question. What's been your toughest role in Toastmasters so far?
Toughest role.
Yeah. And how many have you taken?
Every role I started, I don't want to make any mistake. So first SA and then timer, and I have been like presenter. What do you call
Mori, the
the main
Toastmaster
one?
of the day.
What do you call that? The first one?
Toastmaster of the day.
Toastmaster of the day. Yeah, everything I tried once and twice, but every time I was worried. I don't want to make a mistake.
Right, 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 right.
And like toughest means I'm just beginning my journey, so still I need to learn many things in
Great,
this.
great. All right, all right. Welcome once again to BKC Fireflies. Good to see you. That's my mom behind who just ran away. Uh, Great. All right. So let's kickstart on the meeting today. Like Sai announced, this is going to be a trivia-filled meeting, but I'm going to try my level best not to ensure that you guys don't know the trivia questions I'm going to ask. All right. So to begin with, like we mentioned in the post, the night I set a free topic of Purnima. Yes, that's right. Indeed. I did not know that Singapore was called Simhapuri or Singapuri once upon a time. It had a Sanskrit background to it. Now, you'll be surprised to know that there is another village in India that's called Singapuri. All right. It's not just called Singapuri, it's called Shani Singapuri. Anyone's heard of it? I see Durgesh. Oh, splendid, man. You guys just stole my thunder. For those of you who don't know, it's a village that's situated about 70 kilometers from Shirdi. Now, the fun part of this village is that none of the doors in this village, rather, there are no doors in this village. You only have door frames. You only have door frames. Why? Legend has it that about 300 years ago, there are two stories. Story number one is that there was a flood, and in the flood, a stone washed into the village. And that night, the Mukhya or the Sarpach, he had a dream that the stone was Lord Shani, and he put this condition: you can't have doors in this. Take out all the doors. And if anyone misuses this by thieving or anything, that person will be punished by Shani. You don't ever want to be punished by Shani, right? Because that's the equivalent of bad luck. Another story says that there were a few shepherds. They were walking around grazing their sheep, and they found a certain stone. And when they struck the stone bled, right? That evidently stones don't bleed. Now that night, one of the shepherds, he had this dream in which Lord Shani appeared, and he said exactly the same thing that I told you guys. And that's how the village doesn't have any doors. There's a bank in that village. Even the bank does not have any doors. Now, I'd like to proudly say that there has been no case of robbery or thieving in that village. That'll be lying. There have been cases in 2010 and 2011. We don't know what happened to those robbers, but the village has been theft-free for the last 10 years. Right? Now, on the topic of villages which have legendary connections, there is this place towards a tip of India, southern tip of India. It's a place called Nagarkoil. All right? Everyone's heard of that. There's an interesting story about Nagarkoil. Now, there used to be a temple there, and the pujari in that temple used to worry that people aren't visiting the temple as much. One night, the pujari was going to take a dip in the temple pond, and he found someone standing there. Now, looking at that person, the pujari knew that this person was not from the town or the place. He had something that's a charisma. The correct word, which is difficult to translate into English, would be he had a certain tejas to him. That the pujari said, "Who are you? Are you a king? Are you a god? You're not a commoner, I know." And that person said, "I am Vasuki, the king of snakes." And the Pujari was stunned. It's like, wow, I have the king of snakes in front of me. And he said, I've always been, Vasuki, for those who do not know, was a long snake that they used to churn the Mantra Parvat while they were extracting Amrut. The Pujari said, please appear in your divine form. I'm a Bhakt. I'd like to see you in your divine form. And Vasuki said, I'm way too ferocious for your human eyes. I can't take human shape. I can't show you I'm in my human shape. I can't take my snake form. The Pujari said, reduce yourself to the size of my little finger. Let me just have that appearance. Let me just see you in that form. And the god accepted, and he presented himself in that little form. But even that sight was so majestic that the Pujari fainted. And when he woke up, the god was standing there, and he said, you've seen me in my true form here, which means you need to have a temple right here, and you're going to worship Vasuki in that temple. And because you've seen me, now on, no snakes will bite you or your family. You're free of snake bites. And you're not a Pujari anymore, you're a Vaidya. Snakes will come to your family. There'll always be snakes in your home. And people will come to you for snake bite cures, and you'll be treating them. Legend has it that the family is still around. And that temple for snakes, that temple is called Kovil in Tamil and Malayalam. The Kovil for the Naga, that led to the name Nagar Kovil. Right? On that note, let me just kickstart the meeting today. As usual, as all of you probably know, and as Vijayata would know really, really well, all Toastmasters meetings, they divide into three parts. You have prepared speeches, you have unprepared speeches or table topics, and you have the evaluation round. Right? We have two prepared speeches today, and we have a table topic master, Durgesh Bhangera. He's got a list of very interesting table topics. We didn't tell him the theme for the day, so his topics are going to be out of the blue completely. And we have the general evaluator, Sai Ramachandran, who shall be conducting the general evaluation section, telling us exactly where we went wrong. Thank you for spotlighting me. And helping me conduct the meeting today would be three key role players. We call them the tag team, the timer, the R counter, and the grammarian. Let me call upon each one of them to explain their roles, starting with the grammarian, who would be Toastmaster Kalpana.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dr. D. Cyril. Grammar is an important part, because if you don't actually cross your T's and P's and do not have your full stops or all the grammatical, you can call them signs, an apostrophe or even a semicolon or a colon. You can have your colons split wide open where your English is concerned. So please mark your T's and P's and be very careful how you construct your sentences in English and how well you communicate. Because me, as a grammarian, I'm going to be watchful with your T's and P's, and I will be giving my report when called upon by General Evaluator Toastmaster Sign. Over to you, Toastmaster Dr. D. Cyril.
You need to give the word of the day as well.
Oh my God. Just give me a few seconds. I'm going to give you the word of the day. Give me a few seconds.
Right.
All right. I'm just so sorry.
No worries.
Yep,
Come back to you after the tag team. All I could think of was a wordplay that she said. The T and the P, and there was colon as well. So yeah, all right, great. The next player, the next role player would be the R counter. Let me invite the ever energetic, the ever enigmatic Toastmaster Gio.
Hey, thank you very much, Toastmaster Cyril. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, the purpose of the R counter is to note words and sounds that are used as crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks. So during the meeting, I will listen to overused words, including and, well, so, you, and you know. I will also listen to the filler words, including and I will also note when a speaker repeats a word or a phrase, such as I or I, and this means, this means. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker uses these expressions. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster Cyril.
Thank you so very much. There are two individuals that you're that I personally fear in every meeting. One is the R counter. Second is the general evaluator. And we have Geo as the R counter, the smiling assassin. Let me invite the third person from the Toastmaster triumvirate, as I call it, to please a grammarian. That's a timer for the day. That would be Toastmaster Sai, who's multitasking as the timer and the and the general evaluator. Toastmaster Sai, we see your screen. You're on mute, Sai.
Yes. Now the issue is that we don't really have a good system to time ourselves, because either we use the app or we can use Caleb Grove's timer thing. Cyril, what do you think we should do?
Caleb Grove would be better. I think most people would be familiar with that.
All right, so let's
just check with Shri and Purnima. You guys are okay with that?
All right.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, okay. I mean, this is exactly what I'll be saying, right? The time is going to get flashed instead of the cards.
No, I'm going
to the time. You want to see the Sai, go ahead.
So
Yes.
what is it?
Give me 1 second. So I'm going to share my screen one last time. And while I pull up, once I pull up the timer, Caleb, give me 1 quick second while I do all this. There's a bunch of things happening and I didn't get a chance to get it sorted before. All right. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen. So for the speakers, please note that what you'll be seeing will be this screen where, oh man, how do I drag this down? All right. You'll be seeing this screen where for different speaking styles or speaking projects, there'll be different times allotted. And for each, as you're nearing your qualifying time, you'll see a green card with the screen. This screen will turn green when you see when you're in the midpoint of your journey, your speech journey, you'll be seeing yellow. And then when you hit the upper limit of your time, you'll be seeing red, and so on and so forth. So this is what you'll be seeing, Shri and Purnima. And I will be disabling the show clock. So you'll only see the color change in this case, you'll be seeing the color change at the first minute, then the yellow light showing up at 1:30 and the red light at 2 minutes. You won't be seeing the actual time itself, if that clarifies things. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sai. And we have the grammarian who's given us the word of the day, moonshine. It means illicit liquor. Now, moonshine is also referred to people who are bald and who grow hair on one side and they paste it over their head. It's called moonshine. People are completely bald. They're called sunshine. I'll soon be in moonshine mode very soon, and then sunshine it is. So kickstarting the first segment of Toastmasters, the meeting would be the prepared speeches segment. Like I mentioned, we have 2 prepared speakers, Toastmaster Purnima and Toastmaster Shri. Let me call upon Toastmaster Purnima. And before I do that, let me call upon the timer Sai once again to give the timing instructions for the prepared speech segment.
Cyril, I'll need the timing, the duration of the speech. So maybe you could ask Cyril to go.
Right. All right. Let me call upon Purnima Sibalawati, Toastmaster Geo, who is already on screen and on mute, to read out her speech objectives.
Thank you once again, Toastmaster Cyril. Today, my speaker, Toastmaster Purnima, is attempting a L1 P2 speech. And the purpose of this project is to learn or review basic methods of writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. Timer, please note the duration of the speech. The speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best to you, Purnima. Back to you, Toastmaster Cyril.
Thank you, Zoom Master. Can we have Toastmaster Purnima on screen? There you go. Toastmaster Purnima, the night I set her free. I guess before I hand it over, you can see the size screen that he's sharing.
Yes, I can.
Right. Toastmaster Purnima, we can't see much of you. We see a lot more of the screen than you. It's a little, I think you can come a little closer so that we can see your hand movements and everything else.
Can you see me now?
Yes, we can. If you come closer, it'll be better because you're literally on the bottom side of the screen. We can see you. We can very well see you.
Okay.
The night I set her free, Toastmaster Purnima. Toastmaster Purnima, the night I set her free.
That night I set her free. It was one of the days a few years ago. Pouring cats and dogs. One of those days where most of us Mumbaikars would prefer sitting back at home, enjoying a hot cup of tea, maybe with vada pav or some bhajia. It was quite late in the evening. I was enjoying myself sitting on a rocking chair, and suddenly my doorbell rang. It rang so loudly, I nearly fell off my chair. Looking at my watch, I said, who could it be at this hour? I went to open the door, and I was so shocked. There was my friend Madhu, my childhood friend. She was all drenched because she was not carrying an umbrella, and she was all in tears. The moment she saw me, she burst into sobs. I was so shocked because she really looked very miserable. I took her in, and among her sobs, Madhu continued, I am so tired of saying sorry for things I have never done. I am sorry for doing, sorry. I'm tired of forgiving time and again. I'm tired of this constant giving and not receiving in return. And I am tired of proving myself time and again. Before I let her go ahead, let me introduce you to Madhu. So Madhu was an MNC executive. She was married to Ravi for past 10 years, had two beautiful kids, and was staying in a joint family with her in-laws. Her husband Ravi was also a senior level executive. The sad part was Madhu was heading towards a layoff. And now here I was listening to her woes. Madhu went on with her stories. I have done everything for the family. I was always there taking care of them, looking after kids, caring for my in-laws, whether it was hospitalization. I was even there for the office. Why me? Why am I being laid off? Whenever there was a need, I was there sitting late hours. And again, she burst into sobs. Actually, what had happened was on hearing her layoff news, Ravi had made a remark on her, saying that she must have not been professional enough. That is why she was laid off. These words really hurt Madhu. And that's what brought her to me. She was really sobbing, crying, and again, trying to say things that she wanted to share. Looking at her side, I offered her to change clothes. After some time, we were seated on the dining table. Madhu, an otherwise chirpy girl, was still very sad and lost. She was hardly eating, playing with her food or toying with his food. I looked at her. Knowing that she had a lot to share, I decided not to speak. I was only a good listener that time. Again, she went. Last time Ravi went for his Singapore trip, I had to take my name down from an international assignment because I had to be there for the family. What is it that I'm missing? What is it that I went wrong? And with these words, she looked at me blankly. I think it was my time to speak. I walked her to the dressing table. She was standing in front of the mirror. And I asked her one question. Madhu, what do you see when you look at yourself in the mirror? Madhu gave herself a blank look and she said, I see a mother. I see a wife. I see an executive. I see a daughter. I see a sister. And then she looked at me and said, I also see a friend. I looked at her blankly and said, what else do you see, Madhu? Madhu, again giving herself a closer look, and she said, I've put on weight. My skin is looking really dull. And I think I'm getting wrinkles too. I asked her the same question again. What else do you see, Madhu? Madhu gave me a very blank look. And this time it was my turn to take the rein in my hands. I said, Madhu, you see all the tags that the world has given you. Why don't you see yourself, the little girl that you were, the bubbly, chirpy girl that you were? At this point in time, I decided to walk her through the memory lanes. I reminded her of all our school picnics, of all the little fun things we did in the class, the bunking in colleges, the late night movies. And all these memories did bring a small smile on her face. But again, Madhu was lost. I went further. I said, Madhu, where is that girl? Why don't you see that girl in the mirror? Why don't you see that Madhu, that person you are? You are all the tags that the world has given. To this, she looked at me and said, what is all this about? I don't understand. I went on further and I told, not wanting to actually increase her anxiety, I went straight to the top. I said, Madhu, self-love is equally important as long as you are loving your family, your friends, your jobs and everything. Self-love is equally important. And that is where I realized she was lacking. Culturally, it has been taught to us to take care of others, to be there for others. But in the bargain, in the balancing act of the life and the family and the career and everything, we tend to lose ourselves, which actually leads to a lot of burnout. Self-awareness and self-love is not only about going on expensive holidays or visiting salons. It is accepting yourself, the person you are, the emotions, your thoughts. It's not only about valuing others, it's also how you value yourself. So, and with this, Madhu did understand what I was trying to tell. She was clearly lacking a lot of self-love. While she was there for the entire world, she was not there with herself. And on this note, I would like to end this speech with a quote by Ralph Ellison. When I discover who I am, I will be free. On this note, that night, I said, Madhu free. Over to you, Toastmaster sir.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Toastmaster Purnima. I think that was a very meaningful quote. When we truly understand who we are, we do set ourselves free. Thank you so very much for sharing that with us. Right. I'm going to do my village trek once more. Now, when we think about villages in India, we think about mud roads, we think about mud huts, we think about no electricity, we think about no water, forget having a cell phone reception. Let me take you to this village in India called Panseri in Gujarat. Now, spoilers that who already knew my thunder from the previous village. Anyone's heard of this village called Panseri in Gujarat? Oh, you have. Grammarian, keep quiet. Go drink your moonshine. Yeah. Right. Panseri in village is a model village. It's a village that could literally give some of India's best cities a run for its money. Why? Because this village it's about 65 square kilometers. It's 100% Wi-Fi enabled. There is 24/7 electricity. There's 25/7 water. Drainage superb. There are 150 loudspeakers installed in the village, which to convey any announcements that need to be conveyed to the people in the village. There is a government school in the village, which literally would give any IB school a run for its own money. And the dropout rates of that school is 0, right? This village has got, I think, more than twice it's been awarded as the best village. There are people who have come to see how the village operates so that they can replicate this in their own villages. Now, people who have left the village to the cities to work, they've actually left their work, gone back to the village because it's so easier to work and work from home and all of that. Village is so comfortable. That's this village called Panseri, right? On that note, let me welcome the next speaker for today. That would be our visiting guest Toastmaster, Shri. And before I call Shri, let me call his evaluator for the day. That would be our very own Toastmaster, Sandhya. Hello, Toastmaster Cynthia. Good to see you. Good to see you after a while. Welcome back to BKC Fireflies.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day. I'm also glad, very glad to be here back after a very long time, and glad to be evaluating Toastmaster Shree's speech. To introduce Toastmaster Shree's speech, Toastmaster Shree will be attempting level 2, project 3, which is about Toastmasters mentoring. The purpose of his speech primarily is to share his experience as a protege and to describe about Toastmasters mentoring in general. All the best, Toastmaster Shri. I am looking forward to listening to your speech. And over to you, Toastmaster of the Day. Timer, please note. The time limit for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so very much, Toastmaster Cynthia. Just a reminder to Toastmaster Shri, the word for the day is moonshine, if you manage to work it up in your speech. Yeah. Toastmaster Shri struggles, Toastmaster Shri.
So I'm a great fan of trekking. Once upon a day, me and my mother, we went for a trek, and there was a ridge. There was a mountain and there was a ridge. My mother said, let's climb up there and let's see if we can find some chai. There was a small hut on the ridge of it. We climbed around 100 meters up, and what we found there was phenomenal. An old lady sitting in there by herself. Something what Cyril today said, a tejas kind of a thing on her face. That's what I could see. My mother asked, why are you here? She said, I had one son, I got him married, but then after his marriage, his wife threw us out of the home. And I was taken aback. She made us the loveliest chai there was, and after having that chai, we left. Now my mother and I were traveling further, and my mother asked me one question. Did you realize what just happened? That's called having self-respect. That lady had self-respect and she left. She is living here by herself and enjoying her life. Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Life in itself is a mentor to all of us. And something similar happens within Toastmasters as well. Toastmasters' envision of mentorship is something similar to our lives itself. It doesn't take you by finger, but shows you a broader and much bigger perspective. Within Toastmasters, the mentors will not just make you a replica of himself, but rather listen to your goals, to your vision, the purpose of your life, the various missions that you have planned for your future, and then guide you towards it. And that is what basically culture of mentorship within Toastmasters is. But the best part of this entire thing is the mentee and the mentor culture. I'm sure whoever was a mentor here has been a mentee in the past. And then this entire culture makes sure that whatever the person has learned in this previous mentee session, he brings along everything for the mentor as a mentor for his next mentee. But there are times when the mentor has to become a coach. Before we delve into that, I'd like to point out few differences, key differences between what is a coach and what's a mentor. Now, coach is someone who will look at small details of an individual, small details of a speaker, but a mentor will always have a broader perspective towards the speaker. That's the basic difference. When I was growing inside the Toastmasters fraternity, I had Toastmaster Hasnan come up and tell me, Shri, you have been wandering on the stage for a lot of time. You need to move with some purpose in your head. You're just moving for no reason. You see, that's what has been happening with me. I have been getting a lot of feedbacks from my mentors over and over again. Let me share you a personal story from what my Toastmaster Shaukat, who is my current mentor, he told me about his struggle in his life. Recently, just 1 year ago, he lost his wife. And I too, whoever I was with my mother, I lost my mother 5 months ago. Now, the whole analogy that Shaukat gave me was a kite analogy. He specifically said, just imagine yourself to be a kite, which was held down by the person who loved you. Now that string is gone, the string is broken. Now, instead of you going down, it's your responsibility to fly even higher and higher and higher. That's what I have been thinking of. Is this really how a mentor is supposed to be? Hell yes. Toastmaster Shaukat was such a great individual when he realized that I am going through a certain struggle in his life. He reached out to me and said, Shri, I'm your mentor. I'm supposed to look at your vision. What is your vision with Toastmasters? Why are you here? What are the learnings that you have had throughout your life? What has your mother taught you? And be that kite and struggle against the wind that is trying to pull you down. Although the string is gone, but it's important for you to keep flying higher and higher and higher. And now this very talk of Toastmaster Shaukat was very intriguing and it struck a chord inside me. This is exactly what Toastmasters mentorship envisions. It helps you build on what you are rather than making yourself something that the mentor wants. To all of us, we all have that life struggle, but that one hand of support, that one spoken word from our mentor, which pushes us up further to perform our best, is what Toastmaster envisions, the entire concept of mentorship. Over to you, Cyril.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Toastmaster Sri. That was a very lovely speech that actually reminded me of one of the quotes that I heard. It's about growing old. They say that the focus should be on growing old and not the growing old. Because if you're not growing when you're old, you're just aging, right? The focus should be on growth. And Toastmasters, yes, it actually pushes you to grow in areas that you know that you're weak, areas that you don't know that you're weak, because there are enough and more people to come and tell you where you lack, what you're doing well. The what you're doing well is one piece which I never expected from Toastmasters. That's you don't understand the importance of that unless someone tells you that, hey, you can actually forget about these things because you're natural at this. You can do so very well at this. So you know exactly where to look for. On that note, let me call up our multitasking timer, Zoom Master, General Evaluator Sai, to give us the timing report for all the prepared speakers.
I have some sorry news for our first speaker and some good news for our second speaker. The first speaker overshot the allotted time by about 24 seconds. She finished her speech in 7 minutes and 54 seconds, while the second speaker finished his speech in 5 minutes and 51 seconds. Since only one of the speakers was able to stay within the allotted time, we will not be having a voting for the best speaker for the evening. And by default, Toastmaster Shri is the man when it comes to voting. Back to you, Toastmaster Cyril.
Thank you so very much, Toastmaster Sai. Now let me call upon, let's kickstart the next segment. Let me call upon someone who's really raring to go from what I see in the gallery image. Please, okay, you're already spotlighted. Over to you, Table Topics Master Durgesh. We have 12 members today, and feel free to pick on anyone, including the General Evaluator or the Toastmaster of the day or any of the prepared speakers for your table topics. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Am I audible? Yeah, okay. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. First of all, Happy New Year to all of you. And this is an impromptu session of a Toastmasters meeting. It's an interesting session where you will be given chance to sharpen your listening, thinking, organizing, and speech delivery skills. For the table topic session, the time allocated is 1 to 2 minutes. Green screen will be shown at 1 minute, yellow screen at 1 minute 30 seconds, and red screen at 2 minutes. A grace period of 30 seconds is given to qualify for the votes, and speaker has to speak a minimum of 1 minute to qualify for the votings. Now, I would like to share my screen And yeah, I hope my screen is visible for all of you.
Not yet. Yeah, there you are.
Yeah. Okay. So we have four categories of table topics for today. The first one is pictures with 1,000 words. Second is quotes. Third is sales pitch, and fourth one is a 3-point story. In the first category, that is pictures with 1,000 words, I will be showing some random picture, and you have to build a story around it. Second is quote. I will be giving you a quote, and you have to uh, build a story or explain that particular quote according to your convenience. The third one is the sales pitch, which usually is the fun part of most of the table topics. And here I will be giving you a product, and you have to sell it to me or to the entire audience. And the fourth one is the 3-point story, where I will be giving you 3 words. You have to build story around these 3 points, these 3 words. And with that being said, I want volunteers for our first table topic.
Table topics master, can I please raise a point of order?
Yeah, sure.
We need to discuss how the timing screen will be shared. Should I be sharing my screen?
Yeah. I will remove this particular. No issue.
Okay. So you'll have to give me a couple of seconds, at least in the beginning, to get it set up.
Yeah.
Let me do that while you're getting the speaker sorted.
Yeah. So, can I see some volunteers? Okay. We have Toastmaster General Evaluator Sai and Toastmaster Gio. Okay. So first, I will go with Toastmaster Gio. Okay. Yes, I. Okay, Toastmaster Gio. Which category?
Toastmaster Sai, if it's okay, I will not be needing the timer. Is that okay?
You're on mute, Toastmaster Sai.
I just removed the sharing, that's all.
Thank you.
Yeah, Toastmaster Gio. Which category would you like to take for this table topic?
Where is the buffet? So I can choose from the menu.
Okay. 1 minute. 1 minute.
So do you have? Let me not say that.
1 minute. Yeah.
Call. Call pe ho.
Yeah.
Yes. Give me a quote.
Quote. Okay. Okay. So Toastmaster Geo, you have 2 ears and only 1 mouth for a reason. You have 2 ears and only 1 mouth for a reason. Toastmaster Geo.
Even chimpanzees have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So what is the difference between a chimpanzee and a human being? Any guesses? Come on, give the answer.
Human beings are the highly evolved species than the chimpanzee.
Now, a better explanation for that be that chimpanzees do not wear what we wear. And if you happen to go to a zoo, you'll realize that chimpanzees are still shameless, and we sometimes, even after wearing what we wear, we still carry a shame. Like the story that we heard by, who's that? Purnima. So when God created man, first God created man, and then God created wife. And God said, let man have one mouth and 2 ears. And then God said, let the woman also have one mouth and 2 ears. But the woman was not there listening to this, what she was saying. So woman thought she has two mouth and one ear. And that's why you see a lot of problems in marriages these days. So God intended that we speak less and we hear more, while our wives usually have a tendency to speak twice as much as they want and hear only with one ear and the other ear just to take it out. If you ask me, imagine if this was a reverse of what it would have been. We would be speaking, I mean, men would be speaking more and women will be speaking less. Don't you think it will be a better scenario? I disagree, because I think the most accountable partner that we can have as married couples is the better half, right? Who's able to control us in the best possible way, in the best possible fashion, who understands everything about us. And I think so God created one mouth and 2 ears so that man could speak less and hear more, but the same thing does not apply to women. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmasters.
Thank you, Toastmaster Geo. I'm not a married person, so I don't have any comment for this, but hope in 3 or 4 years I might be having.
We all need to have hope. Very important.
Yeah. My mom is behind that, so it's fine. So now I would like to call our next speaker, Toastmaster Shri.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to take the picture with 1,000 words.
Okay, sure. Okay.
That looks interesting.
Okay. Okay. Can I share my screen, Toastmaster Sai, for 2 minutes? Fine. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Toastmaster Shri, picture, a picture for 1,000 words. A picture for 1,000 words. Toastmaster Shri.
Oh wow, what a mirror. I remember the last time I went to the office. This is exactly how my manager was looking at me, and I was seeing myself there in next 5 years. Why don't you bark? I mean, why don't you give us the report that you were supposed to give? Why don't you come up with an answer with the woof woof that you have? And guess what? Why don't you wag your tail when we need you to? Why don't you show off that fancy degree of yours while you put on that coat of yours, those shiny shoes and those fancy cars that you drive? But at the end of the day, you're gonna be the wagging tail old man that you are. I hope that's exactly what everyone goes through in their lives. If not for their boss, but definitely for their wives, as described by Joe. So I'm completely unaware for the wife part, but definitely the part where I am supposed to, be the leader someday. And what great I can do. I have to be the leader of the dogs that I am part of right now. So maybe one of those days when I will become the dog, the picture that shows, maybe I'll have a different suit on, just that the personality would change, but the barking nature would always be there. Over to you, Durgesh.
Thank you for such a great ranting, basically. And I hope I will be doing that in next 6 months. Okay. Now I would like to call our third speaker, Toastmaster Kalpana. Toastmaster Kalpana, what
Yeah,
would you
fine.
like to take?
I think even I would go with picture, 1,000 words. I had decided
Okay.
on.
Okay. Hmm. Toastmaster Kalpana, a picture with 1,000 words, a picture with 1,000 words, Toastmaster Kalpana.
Are you really trying to moonshine me right now? Seriously. Not done. But I am not going to discredit his wife for that baldness. I'm going to put it down, that baldness that he has, on his habits of pulling out the white hair that he had till he pulled out all the white hairs to turn bald. So women, safe. We have not made him look what he is. Why that much of baldness? I always keep thinking, how come women have such lustrous, long mane? And what do men do? I know. The other day I read, they said that the woman was made out of the third rib of a man, of a bald man. And what happened when he was made out of the third rib of the man? It seems that third rib was a mind reading rib that was taken away and was handed over by God to the woman, saying, there you go. You can use this third rib of thinking, of your sixth sense. Guess what your husband is thinking? Control him well. It's all right. Let him go bald. Wondering what his wife is going to say to him next. So, that is a handsome baldness, a gift given to him by his wife. No moonshining there. Over to you, table topic master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kalpana. I won't be giving any comment on this particular table topic, being a man. So, do we have time, Toastmaster Sil?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Okay. So, I would like to call Toastmaster Purnima. Sorry, Toastmaster Purnima. Which topic? Which category of table topics will you?
I'd like to take the 3 words thing.
Okay. Yeah. Mm. Minute. Three words. Okay. These are the 3 words. Toastmaster Purnima. Gulzar, my crush, sandals. Gulzar, my crush, sandals, Toastmaster Purnima.
I'd like to repeat Gulzar, my crush, and sandal is what you said, right?
Yeah.
So this is about a few decades back when I was still in when I was still in college, and it was a rose day. And like all of us would be expecting some nice gifts, from friends in the group. There was somebody who came up to me, handed over a bunch of roses, with a poem written by Gulzar. Oh God, this is so difficult. And in return got beaten up with my sandals. Over to you. Sorry, it's all going crazy. Over to you, table topic master.
No issues, ma'am. Toastmaster Purnima. I think it was more appropriate for men, I guess. They could have told a different kind of a story. Now, I would like to call our next speaker, Toastmaster Anand.
Yes, sir.
Toastmaster Anand, which category of table topics would you like to?
Okay. A picture.
A picture. Okay.
I can't see the picture. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the picture visible?
Yes,
Clear?
yes. Okay.
Toastmaster
Yes.
Anand.
Yes.
A picture with 1,000 words. Picture with 1,000 words.
Yeah. Yes. The person I'm seeing on the picture, the person, right, I can see the lean muscle mass with them, right? The most important thing is that when the age increases, our metabolism decreases, because when the age increases, there are a lot of hormonal changes happens. Your testosterone, if it is a male, the testosterone levels get declines. But if you do regular exercise, if you go to ground, if you do rounds, that you will get exercise. But if you do the gymming exercise, you can gain the lean muscle mass, so boost up the metabolism, remain ever young, right? So the combination of three things are very essential. One is the dietary modification. The second thing is that exercise. The third thing is that the mental health, right? Mental health is very, very important. That will determine the health of the body and mind are completely synchronized. Suppose if I am stressed, definitely that will lead to emotional eating and lead to obesity, right? To make the stress free, the most important thing is that to connect with the nature, right? To enjoy the most mysteries and miraculous beauties of the cosmos, that is your meditation. If you do all these things, right, in amalgamation, I'm sure that you'll maintain healthy, wealthy, and wise. Over to you, table topic master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anand, for such a view on this particular picture. This picture was basically a person trying to fix his light bulb on a child's toy, and you have told us how important exercise is for exercise and gym is for us. Now, I would like to, now we have our next speaker, Toastmaster Vijeta. What would you like to take? Which category of
Pitch.
Pitch. Great. Someone, yeah. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Toastmaster Vijeta, convince me to order a pineapple pizza. Convince me to order a pineapple pizza.
Okay, good evening. Hi, Mr. Durgesh. Toastmasters Durgesh, hope you have visited Mexico. Recently, we have visited Mexico, And we saw that there are new things in the menu, and nobody would like to have those things in their menu when they have pizzas in their mind to have it. So when you have tried in Mexico, if you tried this one, a Mexican specialist would or the chef would have recommend you about the various kind of pizzas available in that. Just try it out uh, the pineapple pizza as pineapple toppings on that. I know many Americans or other countries, they have never tried, so they have not uh, uh, into that. But if you try that one, then you will find out how the how the, how the fruits and the combination of pepper and the pepper can make a difference in your choices. So let at least once you should try, and then you can see that the difference between what to choose, what not to choose. When you have pizza, then the variety, when you go for Master Chef, then you will see that how the championship is won when you do something different. So if you put a like normal pizzas with the cheese and other filling, which is normal, which is not never been think as a out of the box, but try for this pineapple pizza, then you will have your own different taste altogether. You should give a try at least once. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Truth be told, this was a table topic given me in the last meeting of our club, and I was not able to convince my members to order a pineapple pizza. Now I know that what mistakes I have done. I have to make it as exotic as Toastmaster Vijeta had made it. Now I would like to call another speaker.
Maybe you could invite guest Ishank Kadam. He's a guest. I'm not sure if he's interested in participating.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Toastmaster Ishank. Sorry, guest Ishank. Yes, Ishank.
Hello. Yes. Yeah. Greetings, Durgesh. Yes.
Can you switch on your camera?
No, I don't have my camera turned on. Like my PC, it's.
Okay. Okay. No issues. No issues. So let me share the screen once. Sorry for the noise from the background.
Yeah, it's all noise. Yes.
There is some function going on nearby. So these are the categories: picture with 1,000 words, quotes, sales pitch, and 3-point
Yep.
stories.
Okay, so I'd like to choose quotes. Try quotes.
Quotes. Okay. 1 minute. Yeah. Yes, Ishan.
Yeah.
We suffer more in imagination than in reality. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Yes, Ishan.
We suffer more so the topic I've been given is we suffer more in reality than in imagination. Is that right? What's the question again?
We suffer more in imagination than in reality.
Oh, all right. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. What a VR game we are playing, the game of life. I mean, we
Ishank, you can speak about anything regarding imagination or reality. It doesn't matter. You have to explain this particular code. Anything.
Right. Okay. No, can't. Over to you, Durgesh.
No issues, no issues. Since it's the first time, it happens.
Yeah.
I basically fumbled in my first table topics, and it's a good experience because this is the first time you have given the table topics. Yeah.
I'm not able to
No. It's
convey my
not such a big deal. Yeah.
Yes.
I hope in the next meeting you can give the table topic. Yeah. No
Yes.
issues.
Thanks.
Okay. Toastmaster Cyril, do we have our time?
I think that's all the time that we probably have. You're kind of pushing it on the agenda.
Okay. Now, I would like to call the timer for the timings of all the speakers.
Yes, gladly, I'll do that. Our first speaker, Toastmaster Gio, took 2 minutes and 10 seconds to finish the speech. Toastmaster Street took 1 minute and 30 seconds. Kalpana took 1 minute and 55 seconds. Purnima took a minute, a little more than a minute. Toastmaster Anand took 1 minute 40 seconds. Vijayatha took 1 minute and 50 seconds. And Toastmaster Ishank spoke for 1 minute and 30 seconds. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
And all the speakers are qualified for the vote. And with that being said, Happy New Year to all of you guys. And I have also not drank moonshine this particular year. Over to you, Toastmaster Cyril.
Thank you so very much. I think it's the first time that I'm seeing the 3-point story in BKC Fireflies presented. Sai, I don't think you would probably know this better. Have you done the 3-point story before?
Don't think so. I don't know what it is.
No, that's exactly what he gave Purnima, 3 words and prepare a speech around it. Really, thank you so very much, Durgesh. That was a very entertaining round of table topics. I wanted to volunteer, but then you've been hearing a lot of me today. Thank you so very much. And that brings us to the third and final segment of Toastmaster meeting, which we call one of the most important segments. Because this is the segment that we know what we've done well and where we could improve. And leading the segment is our general evaluator, the multitasking one and only Sai Ramachandran. Over to you, Toastmaster Sai.
All right. Unmute myself. Yes. Thank you, Toastmaster Cyril. It is my job to evaluate the overall flow of the meeting and give feedback where required, give encouragement where things have gone well. But before we do that, let's help our speakers become better speakers, which will be the first part of the evaluation segment. And for people who are not familiar with Toastmasters, this is the segment where we get feedback on all aspects of the meeting, on how we managed our time, how we managed our language, how we managed our crutch words and filler words, how each speaker, whether they were prepared, not prepared, whether they follow their project objectives. Everything gets covered in this last 10 to 12 minutes of the meeting. This is for people who don't know much about Toastmasters. 3 segments: prepared speech, table topics, and then evaluation. Evaluation is where the growth happens. Obviously, other parts also help you grow, but evaluation is where you get direct feedback. That's where the peer-to-peer learning comes. Anyway, that said, since I'm the timer as well, I will explain the timing rules behind the evaluations. Each speaker will be evaluated by an evaluator, and the evaluator will be given 2 to 3 minutes to finish the evaluation. When they've spoken for 2 minutes into the evaluation, the screen will turn green. At 2:30, it'll turn yellow. At 3, it'll turn red, and will stay red until they finish their speech. And there'll be a grace period of 30 seconds on either side in order for them to qualify for voting. With that said, let me call our first evaluator for the evening, Toastmaster Gio, who will be evaluating Toastmaster Purnima's speech. Gio, do you want Purnima to be on spotlight with you?
Yeah, you can do that. That'll be good.
And do you want the screen share?
No screen share. Timer not needed. I have a timer myself, so it actually avoids a little distraction. So I think I would prefer without the timer, if that's okay, sir.
We can start whenever you.
So once again, good evening, Toastmaster Purnima, and good evening, everyone. Toastmaster Purnima, you have a uncanny ability of telling stories in a way you touch lives of people. And because we are humans, we think in images. The words that you use today triggered many thoughts in my mind. And I will refrain in speaking about a few, but I'll surely talk about the other things that came to my mind. When you initially spoke about the rocking chair, I was actually visualizing the rocking chair. When you spoke about the chai and the pakoda, I was actually thinking about the chai and the pakoda. Literally, in the way you spoke, everything about the story, you are a great storyteller. So I must congratulate you for that. Wonderfully done. Loved the story. I was glued to the entire story. But however, every speech has objectives, and we want to make sure we understand the objectives of that so that we can learn. Now, one of the key things that I thought that you could have worked on was the breakup of the schedule of a speech. Now, the speech objective was to identify or review the basic method of writing a speech with a defined purpose and also a well-organized speech. So among the organizing of speech, I thought you put a lot of emphasis on the story part rather than on the part which is what's in it for me. So if I'm listening to you, I did not get anything. I heard the story, I liked it. I was sad for Ravi and what's her name?
Madhu.
Madhu. Yes, I was crying for Madhu. But if you ask me as a listener, what message, especially the part when you took her in front of the mirror and after the question, what did you see? The emphasis, I think the kind of effort that you would have put in for the summary should have began from there, and you could have put in at least 30% of your time of your speech over there, and then you would come up. Okay, that is first part. The second part was the topic where you said the night I set her free, and absolutely contradictory was the last verse when you said, where is it? I'm all filled with paper, so please excuse me for this. But I thought when I discover who I am, I'll be free. Here we are talking about when I a self-discovery. And here the topic of a subject was when you set her free. So there were some mix and matches here and there. So I think you could have organized it better. I think the objective of the speech was to make sure you organize your speech or write it in a way and complete that. And when you're saying a quote, you don't have to say, okay, let me share a quote. I mean, that sounds a little off. Just say the quote and end it. So overall, I liked your speech, but if you ask me, certain part of the objective of the speech is still not met. So you've not met the objective of the speech. I would request you to try it a little, maybe the same speech, change a few things here and there, and then try giving it much better. But thank you very much. I enjoyed the story. And really, the storytelling skills speaks a lot about the way you are able to communicate effectively. All the best for your journey. Back to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gio, for a wonderful evaluation. Our next evaluator for the evening is Toastmaster Sandhya. If I can find her. Can I find her? Toastmaster Sandhya, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Just give me one moment, please. I will put on the camera.
Yes, while that is happening, I'll spotlight Shri so that we have someone else other than me to look at. Hello, Shri. Are you ready for your evaluation?
Yes.
2 thumbs up. You're really ready. All right. Toastmaster Sandhya, give me 1 quick second while I add you to the spotlight and remove myself and get the timing sorted out. Give me 1 quick second for that.
Sure.
All right. I'm going to start sharing my screen. And we can start whenever you're ready.
Thank you, General Evaluator. A very good evening, Toastmasters, guests, and my target speaker, Toastmaster Shri. The delicate balance of mentoring someone is not creating them in your own image, but giving them the opportunity to create themselves. This was a quote given by Steven Spielberg about mentoring and being a protege. And Toastmaster Shri, I think your speech about being a prodigy and about mentoring in Toastmasters echoed this quote given by Steven Spielberg. You told us your story about how your mentor gave you an opportunity to create yourself, exactly what Steven Spielberg was talking about. The objective of your speech was to detail about Toastmaster mentoring and to talk about your personal experience of being a prodigy at some point in life. And I think you excellently tied both these things together and achieved the speech objective. I was amazed at how you could talk about mentoring in general about Toastmasters and how your Toastmaster mentor had an impact on you as a prodigy. What I enjoyed about your speech was also that you had a very, very engaging beginning. When you told us the story about you and your mother traveling and how you met a stranger, you told us how you gave a glimpse of how your mother mentored you in that small example, and how a stranger could actually show your mother some important aspect about life. With that very beginning, I think you basically got all the audience glued towards your speech. But, however, although the beginning was very engaging, I was a little disappointed that the conclusion didn't tie up with the beginning. I was hoping that the story of you and your mother will come back into the speech and you will tie it up together and it will form a whole story. So that was one thing I thought was missing from your speech. The second thing I thought you could have done better was showed us a little bit in more detail about your experience as a prodigy. For example, when your Toastmaster mentor called you up and told you that, hey Shri, I want to know what you want as a Toastmaster, and please come back, don't be depressed because of your personal loss, and come back and start delivering your Toastmaster speech. How did that actually impact you as a Toastmaster? You could have, for example, given us an example that, oh, after that call with my mentor, I actually wrote an excellent speech and delivered it, and I got great feedback from my evaluators. So, a little bit of more detail about your personal experience of how your mentor transformed you in your Toastmasters journey would have made your speech excellent. So, overall, I think Toastmaster Shri, it was a great speech. You had lovely hand gestures, but just add some personal details to the story, and that can make your speech excellent. Over to you, General Evaluator.
We had one speaker who went too far, and now we had an evaluator who's gone too far. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sandhya. Unfortunately, in my role as a timer, I will have to throw down the hammer on one of you, and that's going to be Toastmaster Sandhya, because she overshot the allotted time of 3 minutes and 30 seconds with the grace period. The timings were Toastmaster Geo, who spoke for 3 minutes, and Toastmaster Sandhya, who spoke for 3 minutes and 37 seconds. Unfortunately, Toastmaster Sandhya does not qualify to be voted on as the best evaluator for the evening. Now we'll move on to the auxiliary role players, and we'll get feedback from them on how we did on language. Let's start with the R counter, Toastmaster Geo, once again, if I can find him. Toastmaster Geo, the stage is all yours to discuss our R counter report.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Sai. So during the meeting, the following table, I will just read out what I've written. The filler words and sounds used by each speaker, and then refer it. Here is the report of that. So when Toastmaster Cyril spoke, he said one and one when Toastmaster Kalpana spoke, she had two When Toastmaster Sai spoke, I was searching for something. I even did a Control F, but I couldn't find. So thank you. Congrats to you on that, Toastmaster Sai. Toastmaster Purnima did two and was something that she used as a crutch word. Shri, once again, he did a repeat of one sentence, one word. Durgesh used one and okay twice. Shri used one and repeated I am. Anand used one Vijeta used two Rs and two Rs. I think Ishang did not speak, but in that time that he spoke, he gave me one and one. And finally, Sandhya, I was searching what I could find for Sandhya. So Sandhya repeated, you told twice, I think twice, and however was her favorite catchword. That's from me. Over to you, Toastmaster Sai.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gio. That was not a, you didn't have too many moments in terms of this meeting, but still a very valuable feedback for all of us to realize that we have crutch words. We might not even think about the crutch words and filler words that we use. But it's always good to have someone listening and telling us that this is where you repeat yourself a few times, like I just did right there. Next, I'm going to call our bootlegger of the night, the one who sells and shares and discusses moonshine in all sorts of settings, including this one. Let's call up Toastmaster Kalpana to discuss the grammarian's feedback.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator Sign. Here is my grammarian's report today. I'll begin with the quotes. Pouring cats and dogs. I know it's not a quote, but I will put it in a good English, and I really like that.